Today guys on Beer Geek Nation, I'm going to do a real quick homebrew video on how to force carbonate a keg. And today I'm using a little 2.5 gallon keg I did a 2.5 gallon brew in a bag batch of an all summit IPA. This is going to work exactly the same on your 5 gallon Cornelius kegs though, so don't worry about it. The keg size doesn't make a difference. Basically what we're doing is we are forcing carbonation into this beer super quick, so it's going to carbonate basically in minutes rather than say days or weeks, how you would traditionally do it. Now, is this good for every single beer style? No. Typically, I do it with IPAs, double IPAs, pale ales, stuff where carbonation isn't super important. If I'm doing a stylistically beer, you know, like a Belgian beer that needs really high carbonation or a specific type of carbonation, I'm going to keg condition or just gently kind of over a couple days carbonate it with CO2. At this point, you know, the beer is in the keg. I'm assuming, you know, you've practiced, all your sanitation is good, all the oxygen is purged from this keg. There's a nice layer of CO2 on it at this point. So we can get into it here. Let me rotate the camera a little and show you guys what I'm doing. Okay, so the setup for this is I set my pressure regulator to 30 PSI, which you're gonna see right here. I connect the CO2 tank into the input. I know some people use the output because of the stem in here, and that does work. I've had issues with beer blowing back into the CO2 line doing that, so really I recommend using the input, but there's no problem. If you've always used the output, go for it. If you want to try it, go for it, but be forewarned, it can get messy. So 30 PSI in general is what I do. I set my phone for a minute, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the beer on its side and just gently rock it like that for a minute. You're going to hear the beer actually bubble, or the CO2 actually going into the beer. It might stop, just keep rocking it, you'll hear it, just go for a minute, and that's in general, you know, a pretty good time. So let's get started. All right, so that was a minute, time's up. I still hear CO2 going into it, so what I'm going to do is I usually just let it sedentary here until you stop hearing the CO2 actually running into the tank, and at that point you just disconnect, and there it goes. All right, so at that point we'll disconnect. This might be pretty aggressive, so you have to be kind of careful. That wasn't too bad. Okay, so at this point, let me change the camera angle here and tell you what I do next. All right guys, so from here, your beer is basically carbonated at this point. What I recommend is you put this in the fridge. Don't pull the pin right now. Beer's gonna go everywhere. This thing is just packed to the brim with CO2. What I would say, put it in the fridge. As the beer gets colder, it's gonna take up the CO2 more. And after, I would say, let it sit overnight, you know, 12, 16, 24 hours, ideally. Once all the CO2 goes into solution after 18, I would say 18 to 24 hours, then I pull the pin once, let out like the initial big burst of CO2, close it up, and then hook it up to my line, my beer dispensing system. If you were to take this keg and hook it right up to your beer dispensing system right now, it's going to blow beer back into your regulators, into your CO2 lines. This thing is just a time bomb right now. So whenever you crack this thing right now, the beer would just go in all your lines. It'd be an absolute mess. So 18 to 24 hours, stick this thing in your fridge. Don't touch it. After that 18 to 24 hours, pull the pressure pin once, and you should be okay. Just set it to your serving pressure, hook it up to your line, and you are good to go. So that is how I force carbonate kegs. Please feel free to questions and all the comments and all that good stuff below, and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. So remember folks, life's too short. Drink amazing beers. Cheers.